Muted.
Are we ready to start? Hi, Mr. Jordan. All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Judge Regina Mincy, and we're going to start our Fulton County State Court Expedited Accusation calendar. And this is a calendar for cases that have recently been charged with certain misdemeanor offenses. Soon after their arrest, the Fulton County Solicitor General's office has already accused these cases of the offenses that are brought against them, and the cases have been bound over to the Fulton County State Court. And after that, this will usually be the defendant's initial appearance before a state court judge, and we are able to handle certain matters such as bond considerations, possible plea offer, and arraignment, and a possible plea offer if one has been made by the state at this juncture. I'm going to begin by advising everyone that this whole entire proceeding is being recorded as well as live streamed on YouTube. So I need you to govern yourselves accordingly and listen to your attorney. I also want to remind the defendants on this calendar that you have certain constitutional rights. The first being that you have a right to have counsel with you today, and most of you should know who your attorneys are by now, and you should have already spoken to them. And please remember that anything that you state about the facts, the circumstances, or the occurrences on your case can and will be held against you. The state is here and they're listening. So once again, follow the lead of your attorney. All right, deputies, who do we have first?
We're gonna start with add-on number 1.
It's good to mention the name of the person because we don't all have the case number. I mean, the position numbers.
It's LaPierre.
Thank you. Okay.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Eklund Mercy here on behalf of Mr. LaPierre.
All right. Hold on a second. All right, this is 25 CR 0008965F Giovanni LaPierre, charged with 3 counts of sexual battery. Do we need to go into breakout, or can we have this on live stream or not?
Your Honor, I would like if we can go into breakout, please.
Who needs to
That's
be?
my case.
Whose case is it?
Mine, Your Honor, Miss Allen.
Okay. And Mr. Jordan, you can put us in a breakout.
This Miss Grace judgment. See, I handle it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Miss Grace.
No problem. So it's just Mercy, Anna Helena, you, and who else?
I think that's it, unless you want to
Okay.
add Miss Denise.
Okay.
And if we can get the info from pretrial about history first.
Okay.
pretrial?
Yes, he has a total of 4 cycles, 3 out of Georgia, 1 out of New York. Last arrest was February 14th of this year for probation violation. He has an open case out of Marietta for willful obstruction. That arrest date was February 13th. And then he has an open case out of New York for larceny, and that arrest date was October of 2024. And nothing further.
Okay,
Mm.
thank you.
That's great.
Hi, Mrs. Grace. Hello?
Yes.
Yes, I am Giovanni's mom. Am I allowed to go in the breakout room as well?
Mm, No, they probably speak with you, the solicitors, once they
Okay,
come out.
I got you. Okay, no problem. Thank you.
All right, for position one on the add-on, that's a $6,000 surety bond, 2,000 on each of the charges. And a stay away from the victim and all the other regulars.
And I'll file amended accusations to correct the last name, Your Honor. That's my mistake.
Spelling, okay, no worries. All right, that will be it for position one on the add-on.
Thank you, Your Honor. That concludes my business. May I please be excused?
Yes, you may, thank you.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right, you good? Good. All right, next up gonna be position 5. Come on, man. Duncan, come on.
Position 5 is 25 CR 0000879C Amy Duncan, or I think it's Duncan. Charge of 1 count of unlawful squatting that and pretrial.
This is her first arrest. Usually our jail is pre-trial's recommendation.
Can't hear you good. I don't know if it's kind of an in and out pretrial, Ms. Roberts.
Any better?
Yeah, that's a little better. And you said first arrest, and what did you say after that?
UJR jail's pre-trial's recommendation.
Okay, thank you. State?
Yes, Judge. The state is recommending a $2,000 signature bond through the jail is fine, as long as there's a stay away from 5558 Union Point Place in Union City. The facts are just she was staying at this residence without, any lease or ownership of it. The charge is pretty, charge pretty much says what it is. She was unlawfully squatting, but based on the lack of history, we'd be asking for a $2,000 signature bond through the jail with the stay away.
No objections, Judge.
Great. All right, I will order that $2,000 signature bond through the jail. But Ms. Duncan, you have got to stay away from that location, which is 5558, if I got it right, Union Point Place. You're not to go back there at all. And if you do, you'll be rearrested and brought back to the Fulton County Jail. You are just to stay away from that location. All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Also, let me say, no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, no guns, or unprescribed medication while you're on bond. So those conditions will be there as well. All right. Thank you.
All right, position 8. Come on, man.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. What was this position?
8, Ferguson. If you could, Deputy, when you sound for the number, can you say the last name as well? Because I'm not sure that everybody has the numbered calendar that they're working from. I don't know if you heard that.
I did. Yes, Judge.
Okay. All right. Thank you. This is 25 CR 0000881Y. I think it's Terriana Ferguson, charged with 1 count of disorderly conduct. Pre-trial?
Cycles. Last arrest was October
Say
of
that
2000.
again. Didn't hear you. How many
4
cycles?
cycles. 4.
12. You said 12?
Last arrest. Or,
Yeah, I'm getting like every other syllable. Is it
let
12
me,
cycles?
I'll log out and log back in.
Okay. It's
Uh,
not a good connection, I guess.
I believe she said 4 cycles,
Or
but
did you say 4? Yeah, you see what I heard was 12, so I'm not getting a good sound. 4. Okay.
and Judge, while we wait, I don't have an objection if Ms. Tucker wants to go over the facts, and then we'll wait for pretrial to come back. So obviously it's up to the court.
Right.
Would you like me to proceed?
Go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead. Yeah, ASG Tucker.
The state would be asking for a $1,000 good bond with condition to stay away from the Taco Bell at 2951 Legion Way in East Point. The facts allege that officers responded to a call at this Taco Bell when the defendant came running up to them, screaming at a group of men who were there, making threats, screaming so loud her voice was echoing off the building, and she just would not calm down. She was asked multiple times to just leave. She was given an opportunity to just walk away, but she continued yelling at the officers. I don't believe this would be a good case for a signature bond because of the history. I'm sure you'll hear it from pretrial in a couple moments, but all 4 arrests have been violent. 2 simple batteries and 1 recently out of 2024 aggravated assault. So based on the history as well as the facts, we're asking for a $1,000 good bond with the stay away from that location.
All right. Pre-trial, do you have anything else to add besides the 4?
No, I have nothing further to add.
Okay, thank you. That's much better. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay.
Your Honor, on behalf of Ms. Ferguson, Judge, she is 24 years of age. She's currently unemployed, Judge. I normally would not go into the facts of the case, but I will in this case, and I'll keep it brief, Judge. My client is actually the one that called the police because there was a number of males that were harassing her and her sister. When the officers arrived, they let the guys leave, and it was only after they left that my client approached the officers and was upset as to why they were let go, which prompted her why she was upset. Obviously, Judge, I mean, I want you to take that into consideration as to why she was irate. It was not towards the officers specifically. It was the fact that those guys were let go after being harassed and threatened by them. Under the circumstances, Judge, I would just ask the court to allow her to get a UJR. She does live with her grandparents, Judge, and like I said, she's got limited or to no income. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to order the $1,000 surety bond. And with that 1,000 surety bond, she's to stay away from the Taco Bells at Legion's Way.
Yes.
And not to go there at all, to that Taco Bell. Stay away from there. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And I guess that'll be it.
All right, number 4, Curtis.
I'm sorry.
Number 4, Curtis.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Your Honor, that should be Ms. McLeod's case.
Okay, she signed on yet? Let's see. I don't see her yet. Is
I
she
am
on, Miss
here.
Grace?
I am here.
There you go. Okay. Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for asking.
Good. All right. This is 25 CR 000-878E. Jordan Curtis, charged at 1 count of battery family violence. Pretrial?
10 cycles, 9 out of Georgia, 1 out of Tennessee. Last arrest was from June of 2023 out of DeKalb for theft by taking. That case appears to be open. Open theft by taking out of Fulton County, 21 CR 005053E. And 2023 conviction out of Tennessee for possession of meth. And nothing further.
All right. State?
Yes, Judge. The state would be asking for a $2,500 good bond with conditions no further violent contact with Abram Bowden. The facts allege that this defendant and a co-defendant, Ishmael Ramson, were arguing in the home. This victim allowed these two men to live with him. They're friends, but he came in and asked them not to be arguing in his house. The anger was then directed towards the victim, and this defendant punched him in the face. Then both of the defendants started punching him, and at one point, the defendant grabbed a gun, but the victim doesn't know if he hit him with it or what he did with it. He just saw him grab the gun. He suffered redness to his eye. The firearm was found on the co-defendant, Ishmael, but the victim said that he had the gun, but then the defendant took it from him. We did speak with the victim. He confirmed that they're friends, that they live together at this location, confirmed the events in the warrant. But he says he believes the co-defendant is the real problem. He does want him to return. And that victim, Mr. Bowden, is on the Zoom, if we could sound for him.
All right. Mr. Bowden,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
do you wish to address the court today? Yes or no?
Um, um,
First answer my question, yes or no?
um, um, sure.
And if you do, you need to leave your camera on.
Okay.
I have to see you.
Okay.
And I'm going to need to swear you in. Raise your right hand for me.
Okay.
You affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right, and put your hand down. Are you in fear of Jordan Curtis?
No.
Do you want to have any further contact with Jordan Curtis?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any cross-examination by the state?
Nothing further from the state.
Okay. And so Mr. Bowden, Mr. Curtis was just a roommate?
Well, we also graduated from college together as well.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And so where you live at this location, is that whose home is it? Yours?
Yes.
Okay. And it's just in your name?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's see what his attorney will tell me a few things and then I'll make a decision. You can mute yourself. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
All right. Attorney McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor, we are okay with no further violent contact. My client tells me that this is his home and his name is on the lease. But as I said, we are okay with no further violent contact. I would be asking for signature bond for my client, Your Honor. He has absolutely no violent history at all. And based on the allegations of the warrant, I do not believe that he was the primary aggressor in any of this. It seems like this was kind of a misunderstanding between three separate people. Given the fact that my client has no history of violence, I think it would be appropriate for him to have a signature bond in this case. Nothing further, Your Honor.
I know has the open cases. Is he from Georgia or Tennessee?
He He's from Georgia, he tells me, Your Honor, and he has been living here for quite some time. He's a graduate from Clark Atlanta University. So that would indicate he's been here for more than 5 years.
And state, you said that Mr. Bowden was fine with the defendant coming back?
Yes, he wants this defendant to come back. He does not want the co-defendant Ishmael Ramson to come back. He's not on this calendar. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay, it's not on. I was getting
Yeah.
ready to ask if he's on here. Okay. All right. I will grant a $1,500 good bond. I will order that he can return to the location. So that'll be no further violent contact with Mr. Bowden. I will ask him to not possess any drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And I guess that'll be it.
Thank
So
you,
he
Your
can
Honor.
return, no further violent contact.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
That concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Okay, yes, just for one case.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, have a good one. Thank you.
You too.
Position 1, Barlow.
Okay. This is 25 CR 0000876G. Jamani Barlow, charged with 1 count of criminal trespass and damage to property. Pre-trial?
He has a total of 3 cycles. Last arrest was from 2021 for criminal trespass. He has no convictions. UJR jail is pretrial's recommendation.
Okay. State?
Yes, Judge, we'd be requesting a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial with conditions no further violent contact and a stay away from this location at 3101 Crest Ridge Drive, East Point. The facts allege that there was an argument over the defendant returning the child without shoes on, leading to him grabbing the victim's Ring doorbell and getting in his car. Once he realized it was still recording him, though, he chucked it. It fell on the ground and was damaged. The victim is Dorielle Vox. They do share this child together. We were able to speak with her, and I believe she's on the Zoom today. She says they're not in a relationship. They don't live together. They just share the one child. She confirmed the events in the warrant, but she says that nothing like this has ever happened before, so she's not in fear of him. Considering there was no physical violence to any person, we would be asking for a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial with conditions no further violent contact with Doriel Volks and that stay away from that location. And yes, I do see Miss Doriel, if we could sound for her now.
Ms. Doriel, do you wish to address the court today?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Thank you for getting on. And I'm sorry, is it Doriel? That's not, your last name is different.
It's Doriel Vox.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Sorry about that. All right. We will keep moving. PD.
No objections, Judge. Just for clarity, I understand no further violent contact. So I guess the child that they share, the mom or somebody else will exchange at a different location. Am I correct, Ms. Tucker? Is that the recommendation?
Yes.
All right. And other than that, Judge, no objections to the state's recommendation.
All right. So I will order that $2,000 signature bond through pretrial. And that will be per judge. That will be level 1. I will order no further violent contact with the victim in this case. And if there's going to be visitation with the child, that be precipitated by a third party. And a stay away from the 3101 Crestridge Drive in East Point. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns, unprescribed medication while on bond. And I think that'll be it.
Ellis. Position 7, Ellis.
Okay.
Did you say stay away on that last case?
Yes. This is 25 CR 0000887G. Corin Ellis, charged with 2 counts of cruelty to children in 3rd degree, 1 count of battery family violence pretrial.
27 cycles. Last arrest, January of 2021 for simple battery family violence. That was not a conviction. Has a 2018 conviction for willful obstruction, 2016 conviction for possession of cocaine with intent to distribute, 2015 conviction for DUI, 2011 conviction for battery family violence, 2011 conviction for possession of marijuana less than an ounce, 2010, 2 in 2008,
I think
2004.
out as far back as we can go.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Your Honor, this is my case. We did request it be transferred and upgraded as a felony level battery since he's got that prior 2011 battery family violence. That has not been accepted. So just for factual purposes, this defendant has a prior conviction. He has a case that was just null prossed in January of this year, I believe, because the same victim in this case requested to not move forward, and that is an aggravated assault against her, 23 SC 189147. So that was just null prossed last month. In this case, police were called on the 18th of February, so day before yesterday. On scene, they spoke with Mrs. Sneeze. Her last name is Danica Sneeze, Danica. She was seen to have a bloody gash on her hand as a result of the defendant slamming her hand in the door as she went to leave the location during an argument. On scene, he told police and claimed that she had damaged his property and tried to harm him. There was no evidence to support that. Her 2 children were there and watched this incident happen. We spoke with the victim, Mrs. Sneeze. She said that they're in a relationship and they live together at this time, that they share no children. The children present for this incident were hers. She reported that the defendant actually put his hands on her 12-year-old daughter and tried to push her out of the house along with belongings. That this is not the first time there's been violence, and Your Honor just heard about that as well. She's asking for no contact and a stay away. We're asking for a $6,000 surety. We've got a battery family violence and 2 cruelty counts, so $2,000 on each charge. No contact with the victim in this case, Mrs. Sneeze, or her children, and to stay away from that location. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons on bond, Your Honor. And I don't have the incident location correct, so I'm going to pull that up for you. Thank you.
Okay. All right. PD is in Haddad.
Thank you, Judge. Judge, I'm sure Ms. Allen misspoke, but the null pros was actually from January of 2024. But in any event, Judge, my client is employed. Has been working for 3 years at the same business, Judge. Does warehouse work. He reports to me that the parties do not live together. In any event, the stay away is completely acceptable. I would just ask the court to consider, based on the fact that he's still indigent, I would ask the court, if not pretrial, then I would request a $3,000 total surety bond instead of the $6,000, Judge.
And Your Honor, the incident location here is apartment J160 at 3390 Fairburn Road, Southwest.
I will order a $4,000 surety bond. That will be $2,000 on the battery, family violence, and $1,000 on each of the cruelties for a total of $4,000. Gonna order that stay away from that incident location 3390 Fairburn Road Southwest. I'm going to order no further contact with the victim and her 2 minor children. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And I believe that's it. Anything else? And your client has a question, Mr. Haddad.
Mr. Ellis, I'll speak to you afterwards. Judge, the only thing I would request is in the event that he does have belongings, because I heard the state say that they live together. He told me they don't. So I would just ask a one trip back with law enforcement to get belongings if he has any, Judge.
All right, a one-time law enforcement escort back to the property to retrieve any personal belongings that you may have there, but you must schedule that with law enforcement.
Thank you, Judge.
All right.
Position 17 more.
Okay. This is 25 CR 0000893J, Chad Moore, charged with 2 counts of battery, family violence, 1 count of hindering a person making an emergency call, and a 4th count of battery against a female who was pregnant pre-trial.
9 cycles. Last arrest December of 23 out of Cobb County for battery, false imprisonment, and criminal damage to property. That case appears to be open. 2014 driving while license suspended or revoked. And the rest of the convictions are past 15 years. And level 3 is pretrial's recommendation.
Your Honor, this is an incident from the 17th of January. The defendant was picked up on an outstanding warrant. This took place at 6474 Gray Fox Way in Riverdale at about 2 p.m. on the 17th of January. South Fulton police responded and spoke to Mrs. Ford, Mrs. Michaela Ford. She's joined us here on the Zoom. She reported in January that there'd been an argument over food with the defendant. They lived together at that location. At that time, she was about 6 weeks pregnant. He found something she said disrespectful, and he began striking her and kicking her. On scene, police saw that she had a laceration to her lip as well as bruising on her chest. The victim reported that she tried to flee the location and the defendant blocked her from leaving. He also took her cell phone when she dialed 911, and so the phone hung up. He then gave it back to her before he fled once he realized police were coming. We did speak to Mrs. Ford today. She says that they are in a relationship and they live together, that she's still pregnant. And she confirmed what happened in the warrants and that this is not the first time that the defendant's been violent with her, but just the first time she's called the police. She also reports that she believed he was under the influence of alcohol or drugs or maybe withdrawing. She says he left the incident location and has not returned, although that's a contradiction to what she also told us in the same conversation that they still live together. So I'm not sure. Maybe we can ask her. She reports they've had no in-person contact since, but speak over the phone and she's not afraid. Your Honor, we would ask for an $8,000 surety on this case. That's a $2,000 on each charge. It originally came in as battery on an unborn child, but based on the 6 weeks pregnant viability argument, we will change that to battery on a person who's pregnant at the time. This is a serious incident, and the victim reports prior violence. This defendant has an open Cobb battery, family violence, and false imprisonment case out of Cobb County. So it's the state's position that contact at this time is not what's in the best interest of the victim or any children she's going to have. So we're asking for an $8,000 surety, no contact with Mrs. Ford, to stay away from wherever she may be living if it's still at that address, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. If you'd sound for her, please.
Ms. Ford, Michaela Ford.
Okay, I think I took it off mute. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but if you're going to address the court, I need to see you.
Okay, let me figure out how to put my camera on. I don't know how to use it. Hold on.
I can see you.
I guess I okay. So
All right.
first of all,
Now, hold on.
Okay.
Need to swear you in first. Raise your right hand. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right. This is not your trial, so I don't want you to necessarily go through all the facts of the case. That's not what this hearing is about today. This is a bond hearing. So are you in fear of Mr. Moore?
No.
Okay. Do you want to have any further contact with Mr. Moore?
Yes, I don't mind. I do not fear him. I did not tell her that we live together. I told her that he got his own apartment. And I also did tell her it's not the first. I didn't say that was the first time he got physical. It isn't the first time he got upset. That's what I told her. He has gotten upset before, but to get physical to that degree, that was the first time with me. I can't speak for any other situations, but that was the first time with me. And I was not contradicting myself. He has not been. Yes, we speak over the phone. He does check on me, but we don't have any direct contact. Like, he does not come to my house. I do not go to him. There's no situation like that at all.
All right. And so are you still dating?
No, we're not together.
Okay.
I mean, he checks on me, of course, because I'm pregnant. But other than that, we're not dating. No.
Not dating and don't live together.
No.
Okay.
And since then, I do believe that he's sincere with his apologies. He has apologized. He has fixed the damages. He has been sincere and consistent with his actions when it comes to being positive and healthy towards me during my pregnancy. And I told her that this morning when she called me that we were in a good place. I did not tell her that we weren't, whatever she just said, none of that was sounding true.
Okay. P.D. McLean.
Thank you, Your Honor. Chad Moore is 33 years old and is a high school graduate. His address is on Gray Fox Way in Riverdale as listed in the 3 card, but where he actually lives and stays right now, if they're separate, they're separate. And so we would ask the court I'll go ahead and tell the court what he does for a living too. He has worked at a cold warehouse for 3 years, and now he works at a warehouse where it's not so cold. The food's not kept cold, so it's a little more comfortable. He works in another warehouse for the last 2 years. So the last 5 years, he's been working 2 different warehouses, both associated with food. Like I said, he's a high school graduate. He's local, Georgia all his life. We'd ask the court to consider the lowest possible bond, including a censure bond, if that is available or in the offing. Any appropriate conditions the court feels he knows how to follow.
Okay. I will order $7,000 surety bond. That'll be $2,000 on the 3 batteries, $2,000 each, $1,000 on the hindering of a person making an emergency call, for a total of $7,000 surety bond. I'm going to order a stay away from the incident location, which would be that 6464 Gray Fox, and we understand that the victim still resides there. And right now, I'm going to order no further contact with the victim. Make sure this is still over. I know it happened almost a month ago, but I want to make sure she's going to be safe. So right now, no further contact and stay away. They're not dating anyway. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And that'll be it.
Thank you. Position 10, Gray.
Ten is 25 CR 0000863J. Donnell Gray, charged with 1 count of criminal trespass, 2nd count of willful obstruction. Pre-trial.
Of cycles. Give me 1 second. He had a lot. I need to pull his file back up.
You said how many cycles?
55.
Okay.
Last arrest was February 4th of this year for escape and willful obstruction. That is out of Fulton County. Appears to be on probation for purchase, possession, manufacture, distribution, or sale of marijuana and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. That disposition was from February of 2011, 10 years confinement and 5 years probation. That's out of Fulton County. He had a second probation case out of Fulton County for purchase, possession, manufacture, distribution, or sale of marijuana and possession of cocaine with intent to distribute. That disposition, also 2011, 10 years confinement, 5 years probation. Also appears to be on probation for armed robbery, aggravated assault, and battery. Same disposition date, 15 years probation. Also appears to be on probation for possession or transport of a firearm by convicted felon. That disposition was January of 2023, 5 years probation. Has an open case for cruelty to children in the 3rd degree, case number 24 PI 005191. And then a second open case out of Fulton County for criminal damage to property and hit and run, 24 PI 005190. And he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 other convictions. And
Your Honor, this is a criminal trespass and willful obstruction case from the 18th. This was reset from yesterday for medical purposes. Police at Union City at the Walmart, Route 138. That's 4735 State Route 138. The defendant had been previously trespassed from that location multiple times. When officers tried to detain him and take him into custody, he fled on foot. We're asking for $1,000 surety and to stay away from that location and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. We'd also request a social worker visit if the defense agrees that that makes sense. Thank you.
All right.
Your Honor, on behalf of Mr. Gray, speaking to him, I did not think a social worker, but he does have a probation hold, Judge, so I'll have a social worker go and talk to him. Under the circumstances, Judge, $1,000 surety is fine, Judge. I don't believe he's eligible for pre-trial based on his history, Judge. So I would just ask for $1,000, and we'll make sure to get a social worker visit in terms of the housing and all that. He did report to me that it was really cold, which is why I think he went inside the Walmart, even though clearly there was a trespass warning for him. So
For the Walmart. Okay. All right. We'll do the 1,000 surety and stay away from the Walmart in Union City, please, sir. Be careful. There are warming stations that they have. You need to find out where those are so that you're not trespassing in various stores. They have gyms and things of that nature around. I believe there is one in Union City. But stay away from the Walmart and no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And that will be it.
Is that a 500 per charge?
Yes, I'm sorry, 500 each.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Position 14, Leon.
Is this Leonard?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
The first and last names are switched, by the way.
Got it.
All right, this is 25 CR 0000895Y. Mr. Leonard, and it's one count of theft of services. Pretrial?
I show 2 cycles. Last arrest was January 30th of 2025 out of Colorado for DUI. That appears to be an open case, and that appears to be his only other cycle. Level 2 is pretrial's recommendation.
Okay.
Your Honor, this is an incident from the 19th. So yesterday at about 8:45 p.m., this defendant called roadside assistance and asked them to come check a vehicle on the side of the road that is his. He made contact with the victim, in this case, Nicholas Macklin, and by phone agreed that he'd pay for the services. The victim had to go to the location, and on scene, once the victim saw the state of the vehicle and its tires, he let the defendant know that it wasn't fixable there on the side of the road, and that's when the defendant refused to pay for his responding to the location as they had agreed, and that service. He then was made contact with by police, and he said, I only have $21 in my bank account, and he owed $89. So he clearly did not intend to pay for the services, and that's a theft. We're asking for $1,000 SOB through pretrial. There's some concerns. He doesn't have much tie here to Georgia. I'm wondering where he lives, Your Honor. No contact with Mr. Macklin. Thank you.
McLean?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Leonard, I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but it's a very unusual last name, and I Googled it, and I believe I see his family on the internet. Medical degrees and whatnot. So he's from a family that can help him out if he will reach out to them, I believe. He has a bachelor's degree from Washington State University in Washington State, a Bachelor of Science in Computer Work. He drives Uber, so of course he needs his vehicle, and that's all about what the thing was with the tires. It is an unfortunate situation here. No objection to the signature bond. He is educated enough to know that no matter where he is, he has to pay attention to court, and he knows how to get in touch with the clerk's office. So we would ask the court to follow that course.
All right, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. And to have no further contact with Mr. Macklin, was it?
Yes, Your Honor.
And no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And I think that's it. Anything else?
I can't think of anything. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Number 2, Cardwell.
These 2 and 3.
And which Caldwell? There are 2 of them.
Oh, they have different first names. I'm sorry. Is this Jeremy or Victor?
Jeremy.
Jeremy? Okay. This is position 2, 25 CR 000 890G Jeremy Caldwell. And that is 1 count of battery family violence, 2nd count obstructing or hindering a person making an emergency call, and criminal trespass, damage to property. So 3 charges. Pre-trial?
Yes. His last arrest is from 2023 for a probation violation. A total of 25 cycles. Appears to be on probation out of Dawson County for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. That disposition was April of 2024, 4 years, 9 months probation. Appears to be on probation out of Coweta County for theft by receiving stolen property. That disposition was February 5th, 2024, 5 years probation. Has an open case out of DeKalb County for aggravated assault, cruelty in the third, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. That arrest date was February of 2023. 2022, theft by receiving stolen property conviction. 2017, driving without a valid license conviction. 2016, public indecency conviction. 2016, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon conviction. And then a robbery and aggravated assault conviction in 2012. Level 2 is pre-trial's recommendation.
Come on.
Judge, you're on mute.
Oops. Sorry. Say that last thing again, Ms. Roberts, on your recommendation. I'm sorry.
Level 2.
Level 2. All right. Thank you. All right. Go ahead, State.
Yes, Judge, the state is recommending on the battery family violence, $2,500 good bond, on the hindering 911, $1,000 good bond, and on the criminal trespass, a $500 good bond, for a total of $4,000 good, with conditions no further contact with Jamesia Getter, and to stay away from 3701 Jonesboro Road, Atlanta. This victim and the defendant share a child together. The facts allege that when the victim asked the defendant to pay for another night, and the defendant responded with pulling her hair and punching her in the face, he then took her phone as she was trying to call the police and broke it. Once she finally got her phone back, he was throwing rocks at her vehicle. She sustained visible injuries under her eye, above her lip, and near her chest. We were able to speak with this victim. She confirmed they're not in a relationship. They don't live together. They just share the one child. She says that she lives at the incident location. The defendant does not. She said that the defendant has been violent with her in the past, but this is just the first time police have been involved. She's not in fear of the defendant and wants to continue contact, but based on the history of, firearms by a convicted felon, arrest for aggravated assault, a conviction for aggravated assault, the state's position is no further contact and to stay away. But this victim is on the Zoom. If we could sound for her now, Jamesia Getter.
All right, Jamesia Getter. Ms. Getter. Jamesia. All right, we'll keep moving. Maybe she stepped away. Go ahead, PD.
Hello.
Oh, do you wish to address the court today? Yes or no? And if you do, you need to turn on your camera.
Yes. Yes, let's see. My phone about to die. All right, go to the camera. 1 second, my phone is acting up. So, okay. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. Raise your right. Do you wish to address the court today? Yes or no?
Yes.
Raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. I have 2 questions for you. Are you in fear of Mr. Caldwell?
No.
Do you want to have any further contact with Mr. Caldwell?
I don't mind just like through a third party or something because, like I said, we share a child together. So I'm not
How
trying to
old
keep
is your
him away
child?
from his kid. She's 2.
2 years old.
Yes.
All right, we can order that for sure. And you all are not residing together, correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
He
All
just
right.
he babysits her for me at night while I work. But other than that, no.
Okay. All right. Thank you. PD Haddad. You can
Thank
mute
you.
yourself, Jamesia.
Thank you, Judge. My client is 31 years of age, Judge. The parties do not live together, and under the circumstances, perhaps a stay away and a third party would be most appropriate. He reports he does construction work, nothing steady, Judge. He's, of course, indigent. I would just ask the court to consider level 2 through pretrial services, Judge. Thank you.
All right, I will order that $4,000 surety bond, 2,500 on the battery, 1,000 on the obstructing, and 500 on the criminal trespass for a total of 4,000. Signature bond through pretrial. Level 2, stay away from Jonesboro Road location, and no further violent contact with Janicia. Is it Getter or Jeter? And if there's visitation allowed with the child, that be conducted by a third party because of the stay away. And I think that's it. Anything else? Oh, I'm sorry. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. All right, and that's it.
Judge, you did say 2,500 surety bond on the battery, right?
I did, yes.
All right, next is position 13, Jones.
Okay.
So before we go over that next case, so
Uh-huh.
you wanted 2,500 surety on count 1, the battery?
2,500. Oh, he did say surety. I'm sorry. It's SOB pretrial. Deputy, I'm sorry. All of those were SOB pretrials. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. And this was what number again?
Position 13, Jones.
13. This is 25 CR 0000874E. Eric Jones charged with 1 count of theft by taking. Pretrial.
17 cycles. Last arrest was October of 2024 for theft by taking. That appears to be an open case. Appears to be on probation out of Cobb County for possession of a Schedule 4 controlled substance. That disposition was September of 2023, 2 years, 9 months probation. Also, along with that case was a riot in a penal institution conviction, a 2019 conviction for possession of meth, sale of marijuana, and possession with intent to distribute low THC oil, and 1 FTA from 2017. Level 3 is pretrial's recommendation, nothing further.
State.
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $2,500 good bond with conditions to stay away from Moody's Wrecker Service at 3845 Conley Street in College Park and have no further contact with the victim, Akil Scott. These facts allege that a vehicle impounded had a PS5, a PlayStation 5 in the trunk, but when the victim went to retrieve it, it was gone. So the company sent out a mass text to all its employees saying, please return the game. And this defendant was seen on video putting it back in the car. After the arrest, he was read his Miranda rights and even admitted to stealing the PS5. We were able to speak with the victim in this case. He confirmed the events in the warrant. He said he did get the game system back, but he was missing cords, controller, and a headset. He doesn't know this defendant. He doesn't want to. So we are asking for that no further contact. But based on the fact that he has the open theft by taking case, as well as an FTA in his history, we're asking for a $2,500 good bond with those conditions. The victim let us know he will be on the Zoom. I don't see his name, but if we could sound for him, he may be under iPhone or something like that. Akil Scott.
Akil Scott. Akil Scott. No. All right. PD McLean.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Jones is 34 years old, and I would emphasize that at least he did return it. The wires and such, that's a shame that they weren't with it too. He works for DoorDash, and he's done that for 4 years off and on. He has a friend on Zoom, so he has community ties that are easy to get hold of. Lives on Joseph Boone Boulevard. He worked for that record company. Of course, he can't work for them now. And we would ask the court to set the bond as low as possible. If the court could see its way clear to a signature bond, that would be wonderful. If not, then $1,000 surety is what we'd recommend.
We're going to order the $2,500 surety bond. And with that $2,500 surety bond, stay away from Moody's Record, College Park, Conley Drive. No further contact with Akil Scott. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. That's it.
Next, we'll go to position number 15, Mr. Lloyd.
Okay. Is 25 CR 0008948 Kevin Lloyd, charged with 1 count of criminal trespass, damage to property. Pre-trial.
6 cycles. Last arrest, June of 2024 for false imprisonment, cruelty in a third, and willful obstruction. That's an open case out of DeKalb County. And then a 2018 conviction for cruelty in a third degree. Level 2 is pre-trial's recommendation.
Your Honor, this is an incident that happened on February the 19th at about 5:30 p.m. Police were called to 215 Northwood Drive. That's a laundromat. There they met with the victim, Amy Turner. She is the victim in his prior battery family violence conviction and cruelty in the third. That's 17 CR 0251168 out of Fulton. There was a subsequent battery family violence in 2018 as well. There's no dispositional information on that one, but it is also against Ms. Turner. Ms. Turner spoke to police yesterday and reported that after an argument, she and the defendant had gone to the laundromat. Her 2 children were with her, and he stabbed with a knife 2 of the tires on her vehicle before fleeing on foot. Police actually located the defendant nearby in clothing matching the description that was sent out about him. He was asked if he had any weapons. He reported that he had a knife. That knife was located. When asked about the vehicle, he said that her tires were flat. He didn't do anything to them. Police then relocated and met with Mrs. Turner there at the location. They were able to view surveillance of the defendant and the victim pulling up in the car together with the children, him getting out of the vehicle and then going over and stabbing the tires and damaging them. We did speak to the victim today. She said they're not in a relationship and don't live together, but they do share a child. And she corroborated what happened. She also let us know that there's domestic violence history and she'd like a stay away. And any transfer of the children should be through a third party. So we're asking for a $2,000 cash bond, Your Honor, just based on that open false imprisonment and cruelty and the multiple prior convictions and cases against the same victim. No contact with her in a violent nature, to stay away from her address and her job. Actually, no contact, but just third party transfer, excuse me. And if she has not joined us on the Zoom. She did not wish to attend, actually. So again, I'm asking for a $2,000 cash bond to stay away from her job in Sandy Springs. That's a Roswell Road address. I'll provide it to the clerk, and her residence, which is that Brookhaven address, conveniently where his open case out of DeKalb is from, that false imprisonment. Third-party contact with the children. I'll send these addresses. Again, the victim's name is Amy Turner.
Amy Turner. Amy Turner. All right. PD McLean.
Your Honor, Mr. Lloyd is 36. He has a Pisgah Lane address in Austell, Georgia. He's got a high school education. He has worked at the physical plant at one of our major hospitals here in town for over a year. And before that, for 3 years, he worked as a front desk manager and night auditor at a hotel of a major chain here. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond, or if that is not in the offing, then a $1,000 surety.
I'm going to, excuse me, I'm going to order the $2,000 cash bond due to the other cases with the same victim. Maybe he'll understand to stop. The 2,000 cash bond, no further contact with the victim, in this case, Amy Turner. Stay away from that incident location, as well as any work, housing, or jobs that Miss Turner may be at. So he is to not go around her at all. Stay 200 yards, 2 football fields away from her at all times. I don't honestly want to order a third-party transfer with the child. I'm not going to do that. Hopefully she won't allow him to have any visitation, because I don't think he needs it till he gets a hold of himself. So no drugs, alcohol, weapons, guns, or unprescribed medication while on bond. And that's it.
Next we have position number 12, Mr. Hill.
This is 25 CR 0000875C, Charmaine Hill, charge of 1 count of criminal trespass. 2nd count, possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Pretrial.
Last arrest was February 3rd of 2024 for criminal trespass and possession of marijuana. That appears to be an open case with the city of Atlanta. Total of 20 cycles. Appears to have an open battery. 21 CR 005972C. 2 FTAs, 2022 and 2012. Criminal trespass conviction 2012, aggravated assault and robbery conviction 2011. Level 3 is pretrial recommendation, and nothing further.
All right. State.
Yes, Judge, this incident did happen February 3rd of 2024. So because of the age of the case, we are requesting a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial on the criminal trespass and a 500 signature bond on the marijuana for a total of 1,500, with a stay away from the three-way grocery store at 1695 Pryor Road in Atlanta. The facts allege he had just been issued a criminal trespass warning on 11/17/23. So he knew he wasn't supposed to be there, yet he was there again. Search incident to arrest found 2 grams of marijuana in his pocket.
And your recommendation again was?
Yes, the 1,500 total signature bond through pretrial, 1,000 on the trespass, 500 on the marijuana.
All right. Any objection, Mr. McLean?
No objection. His mom should be on the Zoom with us. He's had some problems, and he's been associated with some of our PAD program in the past, but he's living at home, and so hopefully things will stay copacetic. I'm glad that it's a year since that, causing the state to recommend a signature bond. Objection.
All right. I'm going to order that $1,500 signature bond through pretrial level 3. I'm going to, does he need a social worker visit or anything?
I've chatted our social worker, Miss Burgess, attending our session just now,
Mhm.
about his needs.
Okay, good. All right. And with that 1,500, that's 1,000 on the criminal trespass, 500 on the marijuana, for a total of I'm sorry, 1,000 on the criminal trespass, 500 on the marijuana, for a total of 1,500. Level 3 through pretrial services, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond, and to stay away from that 1695 Prior. Is it Prior Road?
Prior Road.
Okay. Stay away from that location. All right, and that'll be it.
Next, we have position number 3, Mr. Caldwell. Yes.
Victor Caldwell.
Yes, yes.
25 CR 0000877Y. Victor Caldwell charged with driving while license suspended and expired tag. Pre-trial.
Yes. 27 cycles. Last arrest, February of 2023 for FTA. Two other FTAs, 2016, 2014. An aggravated assault conviction in 2016. A willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer conviction in 2016. And then 7 more convictions past that mark. Level 3 is pretrial's recommendation.
State.
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $1,000 good bond on the suspended license charge and a $500 good bond on the expired tag. The facts allege that the officer saw his tag was expired, so he pulled him over, subsequently found out his license was suspended for several FTAs. The facts allege a failure to appear. You heard he's got multiple FTAs in his history. So the risk of fleeing, I believe, is high. I don't believe he qualifies or should qualify for a signature bond. That's why we're asking for that $1,500 total good bond, 1,000 on the suspended license, 500 on the expired tag.
Your Honor, Mr. Caldwell is 63 years of age, Judge. He's on limited income. He receives Social Security. Used to work in construction. Your Honor, is born and raised in the Atlanta area. This offense is, of course, is a traffic charge, not a violent crime. His history seems, at least the more serious, has quite some age on it. Due to the limited income, Judge, I would just ask court consider pretrial level 3, Judge. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to order the I'm going to make it a $750 good bond. That'll be 500 on the driver's license, $250 on the expired tag, for a total of $750 for a good bond. And I understand these are just traffic offenses, and he has, a extensive history. I think 27 cycles, several FTAs. And I do understand his age, but $750 good bond, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. So that's what I'll order.
Next, we'll go with position number 18, Mr. Oglesby.
This is 25 CR 0000891J Nelson Oglesby, charged with one count obscured or missing license plates, no insurance. Pre-trial.
Yes, give me 1 second to get his last arrest, but he has 15 cycles out of North Carolina, 13 cycles out of Florida, and 20 cycles out of Georgia. Out of Florida, he has a conviction in 2021 for smuggle, contraband, and use of a two-way communication device. In 2021, out of Florida, he has an operating machine with larceny conviction. A 2020 conviction out of Florida for battery. And I'm showing all of his other convictions are in the early 2000s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of North Carolina, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 others out of Florida. In his last arrest cycle, give me a few seconds. They wrote down the incorrect date, Judge. If you would like that, it'll give me a moment to research it.
Oh, don't worry. You can keep going.
Your Honor, this is
Do you have it?
I don't, but this is an incident where the defendant was pulled over because he was at about 7 p.m. Seen driving a vehicle with a test drive tag on the back. Officers pulled him over. They noticed some furtive movement in the car, and ultimately there were some drug objects in a book bag found, and they belonged to his passenger. The defendant in front of you was nervous and knew he was driving the vehicle without what he needed to have. He also had not insured the vehicle. He does have a substantial history, but in this situation, he just is in the wrong place at the wrong time. We're asking for, I think he came in with a $1,200 bond recommendation. We'd ask for $1,000. We'd ask for it to be a surety just based on his criminal history, and no driving without the proper registrations and licensing as required. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Okay. PD McLean.
Thank you, Your Honor. Nelson Oglesby is 41 years old. He has a Doraville, Oak Road address. His education level is high school. He does tree work in the past and in the present as well. Your Honor, we'd ask the court to consider a signature bond simply because it is down to the plate in the insurance. But we understand the state's argument. We just asked the court to consider going the other way on that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. On those 20 Georgia arrests, was there any FTAs in it?
I didn't see any FTAs. His last Georgia arrest was from 2009.
Oh, 2009. Okay,
that was his last Georgia arrest. Yes.
Okay, I didn't write that down. Okay. What I'll do is I will order a $500 surety bond, and that'll be $250 on each. And so $500 surety bond, no driving unless you have the proper tags and insurance, no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond.
Next, we got position number 6, Mr. Elliott.
This is 25 CR 0000880A, Orville Elliott, charged with 1 count of cruelty to animals, 2nd count of terroristic threats and acts, and 3rd count of willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Pretrial.
No record was found for this defendant. Usually our jail is pretrial's recommendation.
Jake?
Yes, Judge. Despite the lack of criminal history, the facts are very alarming. That's why we're asking for a $2,000 good bond on the cruelty to animals, $2,000 good bond on the terroristic threats, and $1,000 good bond on the obstruction for a total of $5,000 with conditions no further contact with Latoya Matthews, to stay away from 259 Richardson Street in Atlanta, and to have no animals while out on bond. These facts allege that the defendant was walking around his apartment complex with his dog and with a machete. He kicked the dog in the mouth so hard he was bleeding out of his face, out of his mouth. This defendant made threats to the property manager, Miss Latoya Matthews, that he was going to beat her up. Keep in mind, he has a machete in his hand during this, so she was reasonably very, very afraid. And there were 2 witnesses to this. Now, when officers went to his apartment to wait for him, they saw him walking up. They commanded him, get down on the ground, get down on the ground. He would not comply. He had to be tased in order to be detained. So based on the violence alleged in those facts, the severity of the facts, despite the history, we are asking for that $5,000 total good bond with conditions no further contact, stay away, and to have no animals while out on bond.
PD Haddad.
Judge, my client is 32 years of age, has done construction work in the past. As right now, he's currently unemployed, Judge. He has family here, but grandmother and his father as well. He has no record, Judge. I would ask the court to send him through pretrial services, Judge. My only other concern is that he actually lives at that residence, and I believe the alleged victims are work in the leasing office. I'm not sure exact layout, but I would just ask that he be allowed to remain at his home, but to stay away from the leasing office if he needs to pay check, rent or whatnot, either deposit by check or cash app or however, payment is made with absolutely no contact with the victims, Judge.
It's a very the facts are very concerning, even though, as we understand, we don't have any history. And I'm going to order the $5,000 good bond because of that. $2,000 on the cruelty to animals, $2,000 on the terroristic threats, $1,000 on the willful obstruction. He's to stay away from the leasing office. No further contact with the victim. Is it Latoya Matthews?
Sir. Officer? Oh, I thought my mic was off. I'm sorry. I'm trying to talk to the officer right here. Sorry, Judge. Just couldn't stand it.
And that's no further contact with Latoya Matthews. Stay away from the leasing office. You live on that property. You're to have no animals in your possession. If you do, you need to turn them over, I guess, to the sheriff's department or to the animal control, because you cannot have any animals in your possession while you're on bond. And no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. So 5,000 good bond.
All right, position 19, Stevens.
Oh, see, Hill and Caldwell, let's go. You get your part, though, go over.
This is 25 CR 00089. I'm sorry, 889E. Tyson Stevens, charged of 1 count of criminal trespass. Pretrial.
Yes, I'm showing 14 cycles, 9 out of Hawaii, 4 out of Georgia, and 1 out of Mississippi. His last arrest was March of 2024 out of Hawaii. The charges COND RBL/ROR/SR. There was 3 counts of that. That's the open case. He appears to have an open case out of Fulton County for theft by taking, willful obstruction, and theft of lost or mislaid property. That case number is 23 CR 000642E. And he has a 2021 conviction out of Mississippi for simple domestic violence. And nothing further.
Your
Okay.
Honor, that case pretrial just mentioned out of Fulton County, the defendant failed to appear in 2023. And so there is a bench warrant on that case. He had been given a $1,500 SOB through the jail on 23 CR 000652E. In this case, the Georgia Tech Police located the defendant at 120 North Avenue. That's the North Apartments. There is Georgia Tech property. He was seen on the 4th floor making a YouTube video. But guess what? He's not a student there. He doesn't live there. And he'd actually been issued a 5-year ban from the location in May of 2023. So when officers made contact with him, he couldn't provide the person and information who he was there visiting. He admitted he wasn't in school there. And he was on a 4th floor where he has to have a key card to be able to access that location. And so they took him into custody. We'd asked for a $1,000 surety, Your Honor, not only because his last criminal history or arrest is not here in Georgia, so he is a flight risk, but because he's currently out with a failure to appear on an open case. So that's a $1,000 surety to stay away from 120 North Avenue, the North Apartments, Georgia Tech property, and all Georgia Tech property in compliance with their ban, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Thank you.
Okay.
Excuse me.
PD McLean, you can put your hand down, sir. It's not your time to talk.
Okay.
Your Honor, my client, Mr. Stevens, has a career as a YouTuber. The police report said he was, filming to YouTube and things like that. He has a high school education, but he's also done film work and been recognized for things like that. But it's I don't have a certification to name, but I bet he's got a couple. He has an Ellenwood, Georgia address, so he's got local contacts. He's local, and we would ask the court to, based on all this and the case itself, we'd ask the court to consider a signature bond. And if a signature bond can't be had, the most convenient kind of bond for him to make would be actually the $1,000 surety, because of what bonding companies do and don't do when they don't see a prospect of making a profit. So we'd ask the court to consider a signature bond in this, Your Honor. Thank you.
I'm very concerned about its conduct and about the facts of the case. And sir, I'm not going to answer any questions, or your attorney's going to tell you to make no comments today, because I'm sure it'll be against your interest.
Your Honor, I do have like something important to say. The charges in Hawaii, I actually just got out of the mental institution in Hawaii. I've been in the mental institution.
No, stop.
Okay.
Those are statements against your interest. Your attorney can speak for you at this point. This is not your trial. This is your bond hearing. And you're going to say some things that are not going to bode well for you at this point. So your attorney should be telling you to be quiet.
All right.
Thank you.
I need the signature bond. I gotta pay my rent. I gotta pay my rent. You know what I'm saying? I've been working ever since I've been working. I've been doing my YouTube content. I'm just asking, Your Honor, please, if you would just please, I gotta handle my business. I gotta handle my business.
Not with that kind of history.
What history, Your Honor? My charges in Hawaii, those charges, my veteran caseworker is Rosalind Hummon.
Mr. Steve, let's quit arguing, okay?
Those charges are not even open.
Okay.
No matter if they're open, you got them. We look at the total criminal history, not just because they're closed cases. It's the totality of the history. And you were banned from Georgia Tech's campus in May of 2023 for 5 years, and you're still over there. So you got to understand that you need to stay away. My inclination was to make it higher, but I'll go with the state's recommendation of a $1,000 signature bond. Don't make me regret it, because you'll be back here and it'll be much higher next time, regardless of what your history is. So $1,000 surety bond. Stay away from Georgia Tech. You're banned from there anyway. And so also to stay away from the 120 North Avenue, which happens to be Georgia Tech property. But since you're not a student there, you just stay away from the whole campus. And that's going to be a very vast area, a very large area for Georgia Tech property. So if you go on a property and it says it's Georgia Tech, you need to get away so that you're not arrested again. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. That's my order.
Did you say 1,000 surety?
Yes, I did.
What does that mean for you?
And I believe his open 23 CR case with that failure to appear is already on the SAP calendar, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you.
Position 9, Gaston.
This is 25 CR 0000882F Terrell Gaskin, charge of 1 count of criminal trespass, 2nd count of public indecency. Pre-trial.
36 cycles, 18 out of Georgia, 18 out of Texas. Last arrest was December of 2024 for theft by shoplifting. That was a conviction. He has 2 FTAs in 2024 and 1 in 2018. He has 5 criminal trespass convictions in, 4 criminal trespass convictions in 2024, a criminal trespass conviction in 2019, a simple battery and criminal trespass conviction in 2024, an insurance auto and theft by taking conviction in 2019. He has 3 theft convictions out of Texas, 2018, 2015, 2013. A 2017 conviction out of Texas for unauthorized AB from Communication Correctional. A 2016 conviction out of Texas for criminal trespass. A 2016 conviction out of Texas for evading arrest. A 2015 conviction out of Texas for burglary of a vehicle. And a 2015 conviction out of Texas for possession of marijuana. Level 4 is pretrial's recommendation and nothing further.
All right, go ahead, State.
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $1,000 good bond on the criminal trespass and another $1,000 good on the public indecency for a total of $2,000 with a condition to stay away from the rental car center at 2200 Rental Car Center Parkway in College Park. These facts allege that he had just been issued a CT warning 5 days earlier on the 14th of this month. So he knew he wasn't supposed to be there, and he was seen in the women's restroom grabbing his penis while making eye contact with the victims. So based on the facts alleged, also the history, you heard multiple criminal trespasses just out of the past 2 years. We believe the risk of reoffense while out on bond is very high. Even these facts allege he reoffended. You know, he had just been issued that CT warning, as well as the FTAs in the history. So there's the risk of flight. So for those reasons, we are asking for that $2,000 total good bond with a stay away from the rental car center.
Okay.
Judge, my client is 29 years of age. He is indigent. He's got housing issues. I would just ask the court to consider $1,000 good bond. Ultimately, I don't think it really is going to make that big of a difference, Judge, but nonetheless, that's what I would ask.
Can he stay away from the rental car center?
That's a given, Judge, yes.
He doesn't have any family here in Georgia?
Your Honor, he does not.
All right, I will order the $1,000 good bond. 500 on each. And stay away. Can't say it enough. From the rental car center. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. I'm sorry? That's it.
Position 11, Hampton.
$25 CR 000883. Gregory Hampton. Charge of driving while license suspended. Operation motor vehicle with expired or no license plate. Pre-trial.
12 cycles. Last arrest was January of 2023 for driving while license suspended or revoked. I'm pulling back up his criminal history because I actually think all of his cycles are for driving without a valid license or driving without while license suspended or revoked. Yes, all of his cycles are for
same thing.
Cycles, except for one, are for driving without a valid license or driving while license suspended or revoked. He has one conviction listed from 2020 and then 3 FTAs, 2020, 2019, and 2017. And level 2 would be pretrial's recommendation and nothing further.
All right. Date.
Yes, Judge, we're asking for a $2,500 good bond on that suspended license and a $500 good bond on the no tag for a total of $3,000. Officers noticed his car driving without a tag at all. When they pulled him over, they found his license was suspended for FTA. The history here is what is so alarming. As you heard, 13 cycles, all but one are either FTAs or driving on a suspended license. So the risk of reoffense is just astronomical here. He has no regard since 2023 for driving with a valid license, as well as there's multiple FTAs. So I believe a signature bond is not appropriate in the least. We're asking for that $1,000 total good bond.
Who's talking? All right, I'm sorry. Go
That's
ahead.
okay. We're asking for that $3,000 total good bond.
Okay.
Judge,
PD, how that?
Judge, my client is 36 years of age. He has been employed at the same business for the last 3 months in warehouse work, also technician. He's from the Atlanta area, Judge. He's got 3 kids. The 2 oldest he pays child support for. The youngest is 12 and resides with him. I mean, I understand the history, but nonetheless, Judge, I mean, under the circumstances, I would just still ask for him to be released at pretrial through pretrial services, Judge.
Well, I'm very concerned. 12 cycles. He's just gonna drive anyway. He's just gonna drive himself to prison, I guess. I don't know, but it's just crazy to have that many cycles and know that you cannot drive. There's so many other ways to get around. There's no excuse. Ubers, ride shares, and the bus. I see people buy a bicycle. Do that. How many more arrests is it going to take for you to get it? I guess I will order $1,000 good bond on the suspended license and 1,500 on the tag. So total, I'm sorry, and 500 on the tag. 500 on the tag, 1,000 on the license for a total of 1,500 good bond. We're not gonna do a signature bond through pretrial, but the $1,500 good bond, 1,000 on the license, 500 on the tag. And Mr. Hampton, please stop driving.
Yes, ma'am.
Because if I could do more to you, I would, because it doesn't make any sense to have 12 cycles of driving with no license, basically. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And that's it.
Position 20, Thompson.
$25 CR 0000888J, Michael Thompson, charged with 1 count of sexual battery. Can we talk about this, or is the courtroom cleared?
We can go back to that case. We can move on to position 21, Walker.
Okay. 25 CR 0000886D, Michael Walker, charged with 1 count of disorderly conduct, 1 count of simple battery, and 3rd count of willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Pretrial.
He has a total of 7 cycles, 1 out of Georgia, 2 out of Alabama, and 4 out of Florida. Last arrest was November of 2020 out of Alabama for FTA, and 1 conviction out of Florida for ag assault in 2015. And nothing further. Level 2 is pretrial recommendation.
All right.
Your Honor, this is my case. This is actually an incident from 2021 during COVID. The incident date is June the 12th of 2021. And although we're outside of the statute of limitations, this defendant doesn't live here. This is his first arrest from that incident in 2021. And all of his information, including his current address, his driver's license, and his criminal history and business contacts, show that he is a resident of Florida and Alabama, not Georgia. So he hasn't been in this state in order for us to have anyone serve him with that outstanding warrant. So he was picked up because the warrant was out there, and based on case law, statute of limitations is tolled because he wasn't here in Florida, or in Georgia, excuse me. I put tolling language in the accusations. This incident, like I said, is from June the 12th of 2021. Police were called to a restaurant or bar in, where is this? East Point. This was East Point. It's called Old Lady Gang. Police were called to that location at about 5:40. That's 3650 Marketplace Boulevard. On scene, police actually observed this defendant acting in a disorderly way when he was directed to stay at the location by Officer Calmes, C-A-L-M-E-S. He actually jerked the officer into his vehicle and took off at a high rate of speed, causing that officer to fall down while people were there investigating what had just happened. On scene, police spoke to the victim, who is was a hostess at the location. And the defendant here got irate and irritated because she asked him to put a mask on. Remember, it's 2021. She asked him to put a mask on, and she informed him that that establishment was a private club and that he wasn't going to be able to come inside. He said, "I'm vaccinated," as if that makes any difference. And he proceeded to grab her by her neck That was witnessed by multiple people there in the establishment. He then threw multiple objects, making people fearful. Individuals gave statements, reported witnessing this gentleman in front of you, such a gentleman, grab this lady by the neck and throw things. Items actually hit other people in the head as well. He told the woman that he was going to fuck her up. So this was all captured on video at the establishment. Warrants were obtained, Your Honor. We are trying to make contact with the victim. Her name is Denasia Wiggins, who was working at that location. She was described as upset and obviously in shock about what had just happened there at the location. Officers witnessed this defendant flee the location in his vehicle that had Alabama tags. So he's got Alabama tags on the vehicles he's driving, and a Florida driver's license, as well as criminal history out of both of those locations. We're asking for a $3,000 surety. There are 3 counts here. Just based on the lack of ties to Georgia, the fact that he basically absconded after committing this assault in East Point after the 2021 incident. Stay away from that location, the Old Lady Gang on Marketplace Boulevard, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. We'll continue to try to reach out to Mrs. Wiggins, and we've reached out to East Point as well to get more information about the file and that location. Thank you.
PD McLean?
Your Honor, thank you. Mr. Michael Walker is 31. He is a high school graduate. He works for a large national corporation as a truck driver, is a grocery chain, one of the 2 or 3 largest in the country. And he was doing something administrative and was informed that there was an outstanding warrant. So he told me he came and turned himself in. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond if that's possible, and if not, then a $1,000 surety.
Definitely not a signature bond. He's not a candidate for that. And his conduct was so unwarranted and out of control. I'm going to order a surety bond. You tell me to put his hand down, because I'm sure he's going to say something that's against his interest.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I'm not ignorant at all to say that. And good afternoon, Your Honor. Good afternoon to the rest of the court.
Walker, I already told her you turned yourself in.
Oh, sir, I just wanted to say something. I am a truck driver for Publix, which brought me to Alabama 8 years ago. I don't have a license in Florida. I only have an address in Alabama, which I pay rent, which is $2,300 a month. I have 4 children. My children do live with me. Times are hard right now. That's why I was picking up a second job. I'm trying to pick up a second job with Allied Security as an armed security at the Greyhound station. I did not know that I had this warrant. I also have no convictions prior. I did not know I had this warrant.
I think you should stop, because I've heard enough. This is not your trial, but you need to rethink all of that. And that's why sometimes what you do in the past catches up with you. I don't see how they're going to hire you to be no security guard and carry a gun. I'd be afraid of that. And so, and it sounds like, driving for Publix. I don't know. I guess you turned your life around, and that's wonderful, but you got to answer for these things you've done in the past. And you were out of control at that restaurant.
I've been at Publix for 12. Your Honor, I've been at Publix for 12 years, and I also did.
Oh, you were working at Publix when you were doing that at the Old Lady Gang?
I also thought that I was innocent until proven guilty. And
all right, well, these are the allegations, and this is not your trial, so I'm not going to listen to your excuses. And your attorney should be telling you, be quiet, stop talking about the facts of the case. So we're not going to discuss that today. That's not what this is about. But I do hear you saying that you live out of state and you're a truck driver, so you may be, I don't know how many states Publix is in, but I'm not inclined to give you a signature bond, that's for sure. So I'm going to leave it at the $3,000, $1,000 on each of the charges. $3,000 surety bond. You need to stay away from the Old Lady Gang, and you need to let's see, stay away from the Old Lady Gang, have no further contact with any of the employees there, and especially the victim, Denasia Wiggins. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while you're on bond. So I don't think you're gonna get that job, carry a gun, because you can't have any right now while you're on bond. So get it together. And that's going to be the ruling of the court. Anything else, State, that I left out?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Acquisition 16.
This is 25 CR 0000884H. Malaku, is it Mr. Malaku? Criminal charge of one count of criminal trespass and damage to property. Pre-trial?
29 cycles. Last arrest September of 2024 for willful obstruction and criminal trespass out of DeKalb County. Appears to be on probation for that criminal trespass. That disposition was September 16, 2024, 12 months probation. Appears to have 2 open cases out of DeKalb, both for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The first is from July of 2022. The second is June of 2023. Criminal trespass conviction in 2024. A disorderly conduct conviction in 2024. Given false name conviction in 2017 and 2015. Entering auto in 2012. And 5 other convictions in the early 2000s. 1 FTA in 2024. Level 3 is pretrial recommendation.
Your Honor, this is a criminal trespass damage to property. Yesterday, the 19th of February at about 8:30 in the evening, the defendant was at 5110 Old National Highway at the Legends Cafe, when for some reason he threw a rock through the glass door, breaking the glass window there, shattering it at the location. This was captured on surveillance. When police arrived on the scene, the employee there at the location let them know that the defendant had fled to the MARTA bus that was still standing nearby. Police went over to the bus. The defendant had actually got on the bus. It was parked and about ready to go, and he was trying to pay his fare. Officers detained him and arrested him. We're asking for $1,000 surety to stay away from that location, the Legends Cafe on Old National Highway, and no contact with anyone there at that location, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Thank you.
P.D. McClain?
Your Honor, thank you. Mr. Malaku has a stable address on Sullivan Road in College Park. He has a high school level of education. He works general construction jobs and general labor, and keeps body and soul together in that fashion. He would ask the court to set the bond as low as possible, because he will get his mail and he intends to show back up for court. So we'd ask the court to consider a signature bond if that is at all possible.
I'm going to order the 1,000 surety bond. Stay away from the Legends Cafe on Old National Highway. Don't go back there. And no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. That's the order of the court. All right.
This is position 20, Thompson courtroom is clear.
This is 25 CR 0000888J. Michael Thompson charged with one count of sexual battery. Do we need to stop the streaming?
Yes, Your Honor.